Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today, and we're starting here with just talking briefly about why Sony decided to make a Japan-specific PS5 console. This is being reported by Push Square. They say the headline announcement of last week's State of Play Japan livestream was a new PS5 console that is specific to the country. It only operates in the Japanese language, and it only works with Japanese PSN accounts. By doing this, Sony is able to offer the system at a vastly reduced price of 55,000 yen, which is the equivalent of $350 US, which represents a roughly $120 price drop compared to the current digital model. This is something Nintendo also offered to Japan upon the release of the Switch 2 earlier this year, a console that is flying off the shelves in the region. PS5 sales haven't been the best in Japan for some time now, so Sony is looking to adopt the approach that Nintendo has with a cheaper, region-specific console. In the latest Japanese hardware sales results, we can see how popular Switch 2 is proving as it continually outsells PS5 and is making rapid progress towards overtaking its lifetime sales after less than 6 months on the market. So, yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about this. I don't know how many of you tuned into the State of Play that was focused on Japan. A lot of people were very underwhelmed by it and frankly just very disappointed by it. But I think when you kind of understand what the whole purpose of that State of Play was, which was straight up to appeal to the Japanese market, and clearly Sony is taking that more seriously now. And yes, this new console bundle that's specific to Japan, I think makes that clear. But I just figured we would talk about this briefly because it's something that a lot of people have been asking for a long time. They want Sony to take Japan more seriously, and they want to kind of, see them take their home territory more seriously. And that seems to be exactly what they're doing. Moving on from that, we have a really interesting report here from Push Square. And the title reads, Sony is trying to silence Concord revival project after fans brought back the PS5 and PC disaster. They say even a year removed from its release, it's still difficult to process just what a disaster Concord was. It was a flop on a scale we've never seen before, a true unprecedented catastrophe. But, and stick with us here, it wasn't the worst game ever made. Yes, its character designs were questionable, and its overall concept lacked originality, but it was polished and played pretty well. There have been worse games for sure. So we suppose it was inevitable that some fans would try to get it running again after the platform holder unceremoniously pulled the plug on the shooter servers less than a month after release. And the Game Post reported this week that one group had been successful in reverse engineering the title, enabling it to boot the game, connect to a lobby, and play a match. Assumingly, the title's concurrent users in this post-closure environment probably weren't that far off from its all-time peak when it was publicly available. In a follow-up post, though, the site claims a, quote, digital asset protection company named MarkScan has started copyright striking any footage from the revived servers. This is pertinent because it's a firm Sony tends to use whenever it wants to purge content from the internet, including things like modded gameplay footage. Obviously, this particular instance would fall under that category. It's worth noting that the hobbyists themselves haven't received a cease and desist for reverse engineering Concord servers just yet. Although the team does seem to be scaling back its efforts now, it's attracted a bit of attention. While we understand the game is one Sony would rather bury in its past, we don't particularly see the harm here. After all, very few people wanted to play Concord when it was legitimately available. What harm can come from a dozen of Uber fans spinning up their own servers to keep the release alive? So I had to let you guys know about this because it's kind of funny, to be honest, right? It is funny to me to think that Sony really doesn't want this game to be remembered in any way, shape, or form. I mean, that to me is kind of obvious, or it was obvious with the way they handled just scrubbing it last year. But the fact that they're immediately on this, like, guys, no. I don't think this is so much that Sony is like being protective of their IP, as much as I think it's them trying to be protective of their reputation. Like, they really want people to forget that Concord ever happened. And to be honest, can you really blame them? I do find it interesting, though, that these fans decided to do this. I mean, yeah, there is this kind of angle from it where it's like, it would be nice to see Concord preserved in some way because it is a piece of gaming history. It's one, again, that Sony doesn't want to be a part of and wants people to forget. But still, Very interesting. Figured I'd let you guys know about that. Next up, we're talking about Red Dead. Apparently, Red Dead Redemption 2, at least the next-gen version, still isn't ready to go, but instead, we're getting the next-gen version, or current-gen, I should say. I don't know why I'm still calling it next-gen. For Red Dead Redemption 1, this is coming from the Rockstar Newswire. They say on December 2nd, the epic Western adventure Red Dead Redemption and Undead Nightmare will be available for the latest mobile devices and on current-gen consoles with free upgrades, the ability to carry over game progress, and a number of enhancements. They say updates and enhancements for current consoles. Players on PS5, Xbox Series X and S can look forward to a smooth 60 frames per second experience, enhanced image quality, HDR support, and resolutions up to 4K. On Nintendo Switch 2, we've taken full advantage of this new hardware with support for DLSS, HDR, mouse controls, and the same fluid 60 FPS gameplay at high resolution. They say here free upgrades. Current owners on PS4 and Nintendo Switch or the digital backward compatible version on Xbox One will be able to upgrade digitally for free. Anyone who owns the PS4 version can utilize previous PS4 save data to pick up where they left off, and Switch 2 players can continue with their previous save data from the previous Switch console. It's also worth noting that this game is going to be added to the PlayStation Plus catalog, the PlayStation Plus Extra catalog, on December 2nd as well. So if you're already subscribed to that, you'll have access to it. Now, obviously, people are asking what's going on with Red Dead Redemption 2. Well, this is being reported by Insider Gaming. It says an insider has revealed that the arrival of Red Dead Redemption on current-gen consoles doesn't mean that RDR2's enhanced version is not coming. So this comes from reliable insider Nate the Hate, who recently said on X that they should change their insider sources as they did not predict the announcement of the Red Dead current-gen port. However, he did respond to a post stating that the announcement does not negate the fact that Red Dead Redemption 2 is also receiving the current-gen upgrade. Moving on from that, though, we have something really interesting going on with Ubisoft. So a couple of days ago, on November 13th, Jeff Keighley posted abruptly at the last minute, Ubisoft has halted trading of its shares and postponed its earnings call today. This may suggest that material news about the company and its future trajectory is imminent. And yes, this is a very big deal because it's extremely unusual, and it's usually a sign of, well, in a lot of cases, something bad, but it can also be a sign of acquisition, that some type of deal was struck. And the reason why I wanted to wait to cover this is because I thought maybe we would get some kind of update, and we got a little something here. This was coming from the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, and it says, according to Omar Alumadi, the person who teased Onimusha's return and Xbox pulling out of MENA, he said in a quote, imagine with a single generation, all the world's largest third-party companies have been acquired, attaching the logos of EA, ABK, and Ubisoft. Now, it's worth noting this person is an insider. They have put out inside information, over time. They're not like the most well-known, but they have gotten things correct. Do they know about, Ubisoft potentially being acquired? Could they know about that? It's hard to say. I always tell people to be very, very skeptical when it comes to, insiders claiming to know about a deal. But we have seen in the past things like this actually leak out. And to be honest, when you pair this with the fact that Ubisoft did, halt their trading and, it's very abrupt, it does seem like they may have been acquired. And, if they were, the big question obviously is who would have acquired them. People think that maybe it would be Tencent, which would make sense. Some people are thinking, it could be a similar situation to EA and what happened there. I don't know, but I just figured I would, inform you guys that there's something going on with Ubisoft. And so if we see some kind of big news regarding Ubisoft very soon, you'll know not to necessarily be totally caught off guard by it. And so I'm actually curious what you guys think of this. If Ubisoft were to be acquired, who do you think scooped them up? And it's also crazy to think that, yes, we are seeing pretty much every major publisher being acquired this generation. Kind of crazy to think. But we're going to move on from that and talk briefly about Call of Duty Black Ops 7. We have a interesting report here from IGN. They say here the story campaign in Black Ops 7 has numerous restrictions tied to its always online nature with no method of pausing levels. You will also be booted from your game if you are idle for too long. As detailed in IGN's just published Black Ops 7 campaign review, which they rated it a 6 out of 10, the story experience traditionally offered as a solo affair is really geared to being played via online co-op, which supports up to 4 people. The downside of that, however, is that the game offers no AI companions to fill in if you have missing spots of your 4-person squad, no checkpoints, no difficulty options, and the need to repeat tasks clearly designed for completion by multiple players if you are playing solo. Playing solo is borderline tedious due to having to repeat multiple objectives, such as placing C4 on a building yourself 4 times rather than splitting them up as intended. And yeah, I had to just let you guys know about this because I don't know if you've seen the clips that have been kind of trending on social media in regards to specifically Black Ops 7's campaign, but man, it's looking real bad. We have one more report here from Push Square. It says, if the utterly ridiculous co-op campaign wasn't bad enough, another negative dominating the chatter around the release of Black Ops 7 is its seeming use of AI artwork in-game. In the multiplayer customization menu, some of the calling cards you can attach to your profile closely resemble AI filters, such as the Studio Ghibli one that took over Twitter for a day. Other examples look to have 6 fingers attached to one hand, and there are suggestions that the highly coveted prestige emblems have been modified using AI. This isn't the first time the Call of Duty series has been accused and proven to have used AI in its artwork. As we saw last year with Black Ops 6, they had a big cover image, but the zombie that they had on screen had 6 fingers on the hand. And, you know, they do admit that they're using generative AI tools, but I think what's kind of embarrassing about this, like, because we're hearing more and more about devs using AI, but when I saw the calling cards that, yeah, it looked like it was using that, like, Studio Ghibli filter or whatever, I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me. Like, this is just getting to truly pathetic and sad territory. Like, when people use the term AI slop, you know, it's becoming an overused term, but, you know, we can kind of understand why. But yeah, this to me is like the epitome of, like, this is AI slop. So it's unfortunate, but maybe not that surprising. Guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.